I truly believe it is what I am meant to be doing. And it's really not just for me. Like, none of this has ever just been for me. It's really for so many women whose lives are changing too. Like, and I go back when I was telling you about that first coach that I had worked with, for almost 2 years. Like, she literally changed the trajectory of my life. And when I made that decision to become a coach, I was like, this is going to be my way of passing this on and allowing other women to create this freedom of choice, freedom of time, freedom, financial freedom, location freedom, all of these freedoms that we are craving. This is my way of passing that along, because I have that and I'm living that out every day. And while, yes, I know how hard it can be, I also know how incredibly beautiful it is to have this type of freedom, to get to call the shots and get to pick your kids up from school and to get to go to Disneyland on a random Thursday with your family, because that's just what you want to do. Like, this is my life that I get to live now, and this business is so much more than just me. Welcome to the Biz Builders podcast, where we believe building the business of your dreams can change your life. I'm your host, Sandy Patterson, former teacher turned certified life and business coach. After 14 years of teaching, I took a huge leap, left my job, and built 2 successful businesses with no business or sales background. Now I'm living the life of my dreams, and I'm ready to help you do the same. You're in the right spot here if you're ready to dig into not only the strategy of business building, but also the belief in yourself that building a business is possible. You're made for this, and you've got exactly what it takes to create the financial, time, and location freedom you're craving. Over here, we value progress over perfection. We embrace being uncomfortable, and we believe that anything, literally anything you want, is possible for you with the right strategy, mindset, and support. You'll also hear inspiring stories here, and of course, failures of women who are doing the same thing. The whole idea is, if she can do it, so can I. Thanks for being here. Let's dive in. Hello, pretty ladies. Welcome back to the first official episode of Biz Builders in 2025. I am so excited you're here. I am so excited to be here. I am just excited that we're here together and heading into 2025 together. I hope your new year is off to a great start. I woke up on New Year's Day and I just felt so excited and really just at peace and very, very calm, and just really, really excited to see what 2025 has in store. I know there's going to be some really incredible things that happen. I also know that there's probably going to be some shitty things that happen, but honestly, I'm really excited for all of it. I know that underneath all of the shitty stuff, there are lessons to be learned, and I'm just really, really stoked to be here with you. So a few weeks ago, I did a reel, as we do, we reflect on the year, right? As the new year comes around and we're reflecting, and I created a reel on Instagram. I will link it in the show notes so you can go over and take a look at it. But it was, number one, a really fun reel to make because it kind of forced me to go back and reflect on the good and the bad and kind of what you saw on Instagram or what you saw on social media or what you saw, front facing versus what was happening with me and my business behind the scenes. And my own mentor actually just recently did this really cool session where she just kind of recapped everything that went on in her business the previous year. And it was mostly like behind the scenes stuff, the mindset stuff that was going on, and the things that she was leading herself through, and the things that were going on that maybe we didn't know about. And I loved this so much because it really gave a peek into the growth, into how she was leading herself, into all of the things. And it really forced me to be like, hey, you should slow down a little bit, Sandy, and really reflect each month on all of the things that are going on in your business so you can really just get a deeper understanding of actually how far you've come. Because you guys, if we look back at the people that we were in the beginning of 2024 versus today, the beginning of 2025, we are completely different people. totally different people, right? And I think that we don't often take time to reflect on how we've changed, or like what actually happened, or how you actually led yourself through a lot of really hard things, a lot of really incredible things, the things that you accomplished, all of the things, right? So anyways, in this reel that I created, I kind of went like, I showed little video clips from each month of the year as far as my business goes. And there was some family stuff, personal stuff in there too. But I shared in the like layover text something that you saw or something that I was celebrating. And then also something that you maybe didn't see, or something that was happening behind the scenes, just different things in my business. And like I said, it was really fun just for me to do this and kind of reflect on all of the things that happened in 2024. But also I got a lot of like questions about it, and a lot of like people that were like, oh my gosh, I had no idea, or oh my gosh, that's so cool, or like, can you tell me more about this particular thing? So I thought it would be the perfect first episode to launch 2025 with. I'm going to go through this reel kind of, but I'm going to go more in depth here. I'm going to go way more in detail, and I'm just going to kind of talk you through it so you can have a little picture of my 2024 and what was happening front facing in my business, and also what was happening behind the scenes, and kind of things that were happening, decisions I was making, things I was going through. I'm going to spill everything. I didn't really do a great job last year of documenting these types of things. So this year, that's actually one of my goals, is to spend more time documenting what's happening in my business. So for today's purposes, I'm really just going to be winging it, and whatever kind of comes to my mind, that's what you're going to get. If you know me in real life, you know that I have a terrible memory and I do not remember a lot of things. I don't know. It's just a thing with me, but I'm going to do my best. And I think that you're really going to enjoy this. And I think there's going to be things too that you resonate with, because so often we see on social media so many people that are just crushing it, or it appears like they're crushing it, and they're sharing their wins, and they're sharing all of these amazing things that happen, which I think is great. And that's really what social media is for, right? Is to showcase our work and give our future clients a preview of what it could be like to work with us and the work that we do. So of course, I think that's great. But I think there's a layer underneath that of the things that you don't see, the things we just assume that like, oh my gosh, she's got it all put together. Or she's amazing, or she's, making the money. She's got all these clients. She's doing all the things. She must, just not have a worry or care in the world. And I don't think for anybody, after working with dozens and dozens of women over the past 2 years, I really don't think that is the case for anyone. So here we go. I'm going to dive right in. So last January in 2024, I celebrated 1 year in my business. I officially launched my coaching business in January of 2023. So to be in business for a year at that point in January of 2024, it felt really exciting. I was like, wow, like I think not a lot of people can say that they stick with something for an entire year. That year was very much not what I expected at all when I signed up, quote unquote, signed up to launch a coaching business. I really thought that I was like, okay, I'm gonna, I'll finish my coaching certification and I'll officially launch my business, and then the clients will come and I will be, making an impact. I will be making money. It will just be so great, and it will be all rainbows and sunshine and flowers. And it very much was not that. It was very, very, I don't want to say difficult, because it wasn't difficult, but it was also not easy. There were parts of it that were difficult, of course, like with anything new that you're doing, but it just wasn't what I anticipated. I didn't anticipate that it would be so difficult to get clients. I didn't anticipate that it would be so difficult to step into this new like business owner version of myself. I did not anticipate that there would be really, really low lows, and then there would be really, really high highs. And so I spent that first year of the business trying to neutralize really everything that happened. So no matter what happened, I was like even keeled in my mindset. And that allowed me, I think that's exactly what allowed me to celebrate that 1 year in my business. Now, you would think like, okay, that's amazing. Like you're celebrating your year in business. Like that's incredible. And at that point, I don't even know how many people at that point I had worked with or how much, revenue I had made. I'm sure it was great, and I'm sure it was definitely something to celebrate. But in the back of my mind, I was still questioning myself and questioning why I wasn't further along. So I had implemented, like I had done all of these things very consistently. I just didn't understand, like I felt I was putting a timeline on myself, an invisible timeline. Nobody put this on me other than myself. It was just me placing this timeline on myself, going off of the things that I saw other people doing on social media, going off of the things that I saw that people had built that had probably been in business for decades longer than me. So I'm in the back of my head, even though it's like a year, I remember I don't think I did anything to celebrate. I don't even know if I mentioned it. Like, I know I didn't mention it on social media. I probably didn't even mention it to like my family or anything, because I just felt it was like, yeah, cool. Like you made it a year, but like you haven't really done anything, which of course is absolutely not true. And in hindsight, I'm like, no, like that's incredible. Like you stuck with it through a year. And not only that, but I stuck with it consistently for a year. This was a year of not dipping in and out. It was me 365 days of the year doing exactly like what I knew to be best at the time. And what I really felt at the time and thought at the time was building my business, which it did. But in hindsight, again, lots of things I could have probably cut out or done differently, or, just the whole hindsight's 2020 thing. So what you saw, or maybe, I don't know if you saw this or not, but in January of 2024, I officially celebrated 1 year in my business. And even though I was in a year, I was still behind the scenes questioning myself and had a lot of doubt, a lot of imposter syndrome, I'm still carrying a lot of imposter syndrome around at that point in time. In regards to like, why are you not farther along? Why do you not have more clients? Why does this girl that you see, have all of these things and you only have X amount or whatever? So that was January of 2024. Now in February of 2024, I celebrated a year of podcasting here with you guys and consistently creating content. So over the past 2 years, you guys, we've reached over 100 episodes. So it's more than one episode per week, technically, if we average it out. And again, like that's something to really be proud of. Like, I don't think most people, again, can say that they've done something consistently for 2 years. A lot of people start things, and when they don't see the immediate results, and this goes for podcasting, this goes for business, this goes for social media, this goes for things like going to the gym or eating healthy, we stick with it for a little bit and then we don't see that immediate result, that immediate thing, and we just throw the towel in and scrap it and go, oh, that didn't work, I'm quitting. This was not the case. I celebrated a year in February of 2024 of podcasting. So at that time, I probably had around between 50 and 60 episodes that were launched. I did this all with an editor. So I never want you to think that I'm like doing this alone. She is the one person on my quote unquote team. There's no way I could have done that, or I could continue to do this without her. She is a massive, massive help to me. And I just knew when I started the podcast, editing and all of that back end stuff was not something that I was going to want to do. I just wanted to record and talk and make connections with you guys. And so Natalie has been a huge help. So that's part of it. But here's the behind the scenes part. At that time, I was still very much low-key feeling like a fraud, okay? I don't even think that I told people that I had a podcast. Like, I don't know. I just didn't see myself like as a podcaster, even though, again, I had been doing it consistently for a year. Because if we are being super transparent here, I didn't have very many downloads. I didn't have very many people subscribing. I did not have very many people leaving reviews. I didn't have a whole ton of people reaching out about the podcast, but that continues again to just grow. And I believe that it is because, number one, I made a decision that it's going to do what I want it to do, whether it happens tomorrow or it happens 10 years from now or 20 years from now even. The reason I started this podcast was to create basically like a living bank of my work and what I'm working on with clients and what I'm doing with clients and what's important to me and what it's like to step into my world. And that's exactly what I've done. So that is a success 100%. Now, at this point in February of 2024, when I was like, I don't have very many downloads, whatever, again, I'm putting these like metrics on myself and these measures of success that are only literally coming from me. If I look back on that year and I go, oh my gosh, the podcast actually brought me a handful of connections with some really, really incredible women who I'm still in contact with now, who I'm still working with now, who I just absolutely adore. So if I can look back on that and be like, no, it was a success and it's just going to continue to grow. It's like in my head, I was like feeling like a fraud because in my head, success is only like when you hit the top whatever percent or you have 1 million downloads or you get, I don't even know. I don't even know what I was looking for. That wasn't what it was at the time. So that was what you saw front facing. And also what was happening on the back end was like, yeah, okay, I've been podcasting for a year, but like, I still kind of feel like a fraud. Like I don't feel like a podcaster. I don't feel like it's because I was using those metrics, but again, in hindsight, not the case, like all good. So then in March of 2024, tax time rolls around, right? The dreaded tax time. And so I had been very good that year about keeping track of expenses and all those things that you need for tax season, right? So I was proud of myself for that I at least kept track of everything and I wasn't scrambling. But we did our taxes, I did my taxes, and I felt really, really proud of myself when I got that external validation from my tax lady who I talked to like maybe 4 times a year, okay? And she said something along the lines of like, oh my gosh, Sandy, wow, your business did really great this year. Great job, like good job. She probably says that to everybody. I don't, it's fine. It doesn't matter. But I felt validated. I was like, wow, if this woman who I only talk to 4 times a year thinks that I'm doing a good job, then okay, yay, I must be doing a good job. Which again, you guys, so freaking stupid. Like, no, like don't get your validation from your tax lady. Don't get your validation from any external source other than you. And that's what I've spent this last year, the rest of the year, really working on. So we could do a whole episode on that too. But underneath the surface there and low key, I'm looking at my tax paperwork. I'm looking at the numbers, and numbers are not subjective. They are just numbers. It's like black and white. And I couldn't help but think the entire time, I wish I made more. I felt like I had let my family down. I felt like I was like, again, that imposter syndrome of like, you can't really call yourself a business owner. Like you barely hit this amount. But again, I'm like, that was my journey. That was my starting point. And the amount of money I made didn't matter compared to the amount of lessons I learned in regards to business ownership, in regards to coaching, in regards to just literally mindset and like life in general. So that was what was going on in March. In April of, I don't have this written down. I'll have to go back to the reel. I have all of these written down, but I don't have April written down. So we're going to skip over April because like I told you, I don't remember things very well. So we're going to go over to May. So in May of 2024, I decided to wrap up coaching with the coach that I had been working with for almost 2 years. So this woman played an incredibly huge role in my life from the moment that I decided to leave my teaching job and even prior to when I actually left until this moment in time. So May of 2024. So she was with me through everything. She was with me when I left my job. She was with me when I built my very first business doing freelance work and curriculum writing. She was with me when I transitioned out of my teaching job and into full-time business ownership. She was with me when all of my teacher friends were, and even my kids were going back to school in August, September. And I was like, okay, like, what do I do with myself? What am I supposed to do with myself now? She really helped me navigate that transitional time. And she really, really helped me through those 2 years build my business. She was with me when I decided I wanted to become a coach. She was with me through my whole entire coach certification training. She helped me build my business. She helped me with so many different things. So she really played a pivotal role in my business and really in my life in general. And in May, I decided that because our contract time was up and I could just kind of feel that I was ready to, and this was nothing, like this was not a reflection of her or anything bad or anything, but I could just feel that I was ready for a shift. And whether that was working with somebody else or whether it was flying solo for a little while, right? So I decided in that time frame that I'm like, okay, I'm going to take my training wheels off and I'm going to just try to fly solo here. Like, I'm going to try to run my business and I'm going to try to do it on my own with no mentorship. And I think that that was good for me at the time in that little in-between time. But it's funny now looking back at that, because now I recognize that, like, I truly believe, you guys, that if you have a pulse and you have a goal, you need a coach. Okay. So like, and also if you don't have a goal, then you need a coach because you need to have goals, right? You need to be moving towards something. So I realize now that like mentorship for me is a given. I know that I'm always going to need support and mentorship. And not only that I need it, but just that I want it. Like, I enjoy having somebody who's a little bit farther ahead of me or who's way farther ahead of me, and that has this area of expertise in something that maybe I'm not an expert in yet. I love having them by my side. I love having them walk me through things. I love having them just be there to support me. And we all know, like, business is great, but like also life's, right? So I found that it's not usually like I will never sign up with somebody just because of the strategy or just because they tell me like, hey, I can help you with this part of your business, the strategic part of your business. It is never just that. It's always, I am going to be working with somebody who I admire how they lead themselves through certain situations or have led themselves through things, how they handle themselves, how they, what their mindset is really, what their thoughts are surrounding and what they value surrounding business and business ownership and balancing all of the things in life. So now I realize, I'm like, okay, Sandy, like, that was cute of you. Like, okay, you like took your training wheels off, whatever, but like, you probably are always going to not need, but want to have mentorship. And so that's just me. That's just who I am. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. Now, this same month in May of 2024, I actually had an emergency with my dog. So this was something that you probably didn't see or didn't know. So I had a really random, like, fluke emergency with the dog. We had the puppy, we had him, George, for like 2 months at the time, and he developed glaucoma in one of his eyes. It was secondary glaucoma, so it was just kind of a random, again, fluke thing, but it escalated all really, really quickly. Like, I thought it was just pink eye at first, and I took him to the vet and gave the drops or whatever, and it just continuously got worse until it got so bad that, like, we literally one morning out of the blue had to like drop everything, had to cancel all appointments, had to like, you know, like I had coaching calls scheduled. I had a bunch of things. I had some discovery calls, coffee chats scheduled. I had a bunch of things going on, and I had to like reach out and be like, I'm sorry, we can't make it. We had this emergency. So we had to take him to the vet. Long story short, he ended up having to have his eye removed that day. But that day, so I spent the day at the, if you didn't know this, there's a such thing as a dog optometrist. So they specialize in dogs and cats and their eyes. So kind of cool. Didn't know that until this whole thing came up in 2024, but I spent the day with George at the optometrist. He had the procedure done, taking care of him, all of that things. But that day was significant because I had my biggest cash day in my business. At that time, I was selling a group program. I was in the middle of a launch for that, and that day I had my biggest cash day, which was really exciting for me. Again, I think we see on social media, like, oh my God, whatever, I did this and I had a $10,000 day, or I had a, $50K day or whatever. So for me, I was like really, really excited about this. And it also proved to me, it was like building self-trust within myself and within my business, because I realized that the things that I was doing on the back end that didn't necessarily require me to be sitting in front of my computer at that moment were doing the things that I wanted them to do in order to create sales, and then in order to create more impact through that group program. So that was a big one for me. Now, in June of 2024, I launched the second round of my group coaching program, or I guess I was in the middle of the launch in May, and then I ran it in June. And that was an exciting time for me as well, because I basically doubled the amount of women in that group program from the previous round. So I think I started it the first time I ran that program, and there's a whole episode on this somewhere. I'll find it and I'll link it in the show notes. But I launched that program with 2 people the first year. And then that following launch, that second launch, I think we had 6 or 7 people. So I more than doubled the amount of women. And again, that was really exciting to me, because I was like, well, even if you just start with 2 and then you just keep adding a few more every time, eventually if you keep going with the consistency and you refine this launch process, you refine your messaging, you refine all the things, right? You're just going to keep growing and it's going to keep getting better. And that's exactly what happened. So, and then through that program, I was also seeing my clients get insane results, like really, really great results. It was a really beautiful space, but I was still at that time not feeling comfortable or confident talking about my clients' results. I had this whole weird like mind thing going on around results. And like, if they weren't my result, I didn't feel comfortable talking about those people's results, almost as if I was like stealing or like not, like, I don't know. It was just this weird thing that I had to work through. And so I spent quite a bit of time this last year working through that as well, and kind of how my clients' results are not my results, but their wins are really, truly, like, I feel their wins as if they are my wins. And this is not to say that they couldn't do any of these things without me. This is not to say that they wouldn't have achieved that without me. It's just they've chosen me to help them achieve these things and to be a part of their journey and a part of their path. And I get to celebrate that. Like, I think it's something that not a lot of new coaches do or are comfortable doing. But it's truly like, I want people to see, like, when you come into my world, like, these are the type of things that are happening. Like, these are the types of things that the women are doing, and the things that I am supporting them in doing a lot faster than if they were on their own. And this is what I have expertise in. Like, a lot of business coaches can tell you this, but like not a lot of them can tell you, that I did it with 2 young kids. I did it while working 3 basically jobs. I did it while also balancing, being a wife and a mom, and just being like a sane person who's not willing to compromise family time or time with my family to build this business. And so I've really stepped into, that was the moment in June of 2024 where I began to realize, like, you need to start doing some work around like your mindset around sharing what's happening in your world, right? So then in July of 2024, we're all the way to July now, you guys. We made it to July. And thanks for hanging with me here. So I took the summer, quote unquote, off from my business. There is another episode on this that I'll have to find. And I talked about what this looked like for me in depth. But I basically took off the summer, aside from over delivering to the clients that I was already working with, the clients I have, and running that group program. So I was still running that, still doing that, it was amazing, so good. And then also at that point, I was like, I'm just going to show up when and how I want to. So what that meant for me is like up until this moment, July of 2024, I had been consistently podcasting every week. I had been consistently sending a weekly email out every week. I had put this pressure on myself. It's like the theme of 2024 was pressure, right? I had put this pressure on myself to post on social media Monday through Friday, all these things. And so in July, I was like, this isn't sustainable. I can't do this. I want to take a break. We're going on these really fun, I think we went on a road trip that year. We went to Montana to visit family. I'm like, I want to take a break. I need a break. So I just said to myself, okay, here's what you're going to do. Like, you're just going to show up in these ways through email, podcast, and social media when you want to. Like, if you just have like an itch and you're like, oh, I really want to do this, then do it. But there's no like rigidity to it. There's no pressure. It's just do what you want to do. And let me tell you guys, this was not easy, especially for like a type A, overly like, I don't even know what the word is, but like this was very hard for me to take my foot off the gas. But what ended up happening is I had like the best, as far as revenue goes, I had the best revenue that month in my business. So I signed 3 new clients in 1 week that summer by doing less, literally by doing less. So that was another really big lesson for me in 2024 was like, okay, you don't have to like keep pushing so hard. You get to ease up because of this consistency that you've put in already. If you take your foot off the gas pedal, it's not that when you come back, you're going to be starting all over from scratch. It's just, you're going to get to jump right back in and you're probably going to feel way better and more creative, more excited, more all these like good things, more in flow than if you just keep pushing. So that was a big one. Now, when the other part of July of 2024, this was a big one that maybe you saw, maybe you didn't, maybe you knew about, maybe not. I also quit. This was the month that I officially quit my other freelance curriculum writing jobs and I went full time in my coaching business. So up until that point, I was working my coaching business and building my coaching business. I was also working the freelance jobs, and I was also teaching bar. I still teach bar, but I see that as like a kind of like a side, like just fun job or whatever. So in July, I completely quit that freelance job, which to me, the freelance job was consistency. That's basically what it was giving me, was comfort and consistency, because otherwise now I'm standing alone in my coaching business. And you know, when you're in entrepreneurship, like you can have a really great month, you can have a really shitty month. So I had to do a lot of work at this time around the consistency piece of it and kind of letting go of that and allowing that to be okay. So this was, that was a big month for me. And I also did, if you're interested, I also broke down this whole process of like how I knew it was time to leave that job and ready to just run my business full time. I just did a masterclass on this. It was called Full-Time Online Formula. I am happy to share that with you. It was a free masterclass. It was so good. So I'll put the link to that in the show notes as well. I'm going to have to let's see if I remember all these links to put in. Probably not. So just reach out if you need a link. So, okay, now we're in August of 2024. This is when I realized that if I was going to move faster, I definitely needed mentorship, right? And I wanted it from somebody who is where I want to be, somebody where I see you, I want to be there someday. Not I want to be you someday. I want to be where you are someday. And who's going to really push me outside of my comfort zone, who's not going to like sugarcoat things or tell me like, oh, you're doing great, like it's fine. I wanted somebody that was going to like tell me how it is. I'm okay being uncomfortable. I'm okay, like, I'm okay with people telling me like what I can do better. So this is where I had that realization that like, okay, I'm probably always going to want mentorship. And so I signed on for, I don't remember no, it must not have been then, but I guess that was the time when I started to kind of shop around, I guess, for another coach to work with. So that was that. And then I was also at this time navigating running my business only. So remember, now I'm not doing any freelance curriculum writing. I'm just running my business. I'm like crossing my fingers, like, oh my God, like, is everything going to be okay? And I loved it. I love pouring into my business. I love like doing all the things I was doing for other people's businesses. I love doing them for my business now. But I was still scared. Like, I was scared, like, oh my God, what if I don't make enough money? What if we can't pay the mortgage? What if we lose our house? You know, your brain like goes into that spiral of like, well, none of that actually happened. It's fine. Like, everything is fine. Here we are, what are we, 6 months later, and we're figuring it out. So everything's okay. Now, in September of 2024, this is where I intentionally began to start paying more attention and learning how to create content to sell my offers on social media and bring new people into my world. Now, you would think after, like I told you before, like after a year and a half of consistently posting on social media Monday through Friday, like every day, that like that was doing it. But really, I realized that yes, like you can post every day, but unless you're very intentional and strategic about what you're posting, how you're talking about your offers, who you're talking to, your specificity, what kind of buyer types you're talking to, all of these things, I realized it wasn't doing like, yeah, it was like, cool, she's on Instagram every day, that's fine, but it wasn't doing what I wanted it to do, which was bring people into my world, start conversations, bring sales in, and bring people into my world who are really excited to work with me. So this is when I intentionally started learning to shift my content, shift my messaging, get really, really specific. And with that, of course, came a shit ton of like reflection and questioning and all of the things around who my ideal client is, who I want to work with, what I want to work around, and all of those things that we grapple with as coaches, right? In the beginning. And up until that point too, I should say, I only would book one-to-one clients. I only had pretty much one offer, which was like one-to-one coaching. I would only book one-to-one clients through discovery calls or through coffee chats or sales calls or whatever you want to call them. They're all the same thing. So at this point, I'm like, maybe there's like a version of this world where I don't have to do sales calls anymore. Maybe I can just start to begin to learn how to sell through my content and share, because in a sales call, right, you go through very specific things. What if I begin to start to learn how to do that in my content, while also still, of course, keeping relationships and connections at the core of everything that I do? And so we're still in the process of that. So I'll let you know how it goes. But also in September of 2024, I turned 40, which was big. And I also launched some really fun birthday offers. So this was my first experience playing with offers outside of one-to-one coaching. So I think we get really stuck in the one-to-one coaching box where we're like that's all it is. That's all we can do. That's all we can offer. We can only offer like a 3 or 6 month package, and it's either weekly or bi-weekly, which was fine. And it served its purpose for me in the beginning. And I still have packages like that. But I was like, I'm going to play with some different offers. I want to start to play with high, medium, and low offers. I want to start to play with like flash offers and just like things that sound fun to me. It's just, why not? Let's do it. So when I turned 40, I launched some really fun birthday offers, and that was the first time that I went through selling them on Instagram. And while I did not get a lot of people reach out about those offers, I was really, really proud of myself at that point, just because I simply created them. I went through the process of creating them and selling them and showing up and treating them as if they were the best thing since sliced bread, and treating them as if they were just as important as a one-to-one long-term coaching package, because I truly believe that. I believe that if you come into my space for one day, for a day in Voxer, if you come into my space just to spend 90 minutes with me on a masterclass, if you come into my space here on the podcast for 20, 30 minutes. I'm looking at the time. I've already been talking for 36 minutes. So if you come here for a 36-minute episode, that you're still, no matter what it is, no matter what length of time, no matter what package it is, no matter what format it is, you're going to get so much value. You are going to have so many aha moments. You are just going to be blown away. That's how I'm moving at this point. And so I was really, really proud of myself for getting those out to the world. And I was not, at this point, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely not like attached. I'd gotten really good at this time about detaching myself from anything in my business. I think the beginning of business, we take everything very personally. Nobody signs up. We take it, very hard. Somebody ghosts us, or somebody says they're going to sign up and they don't. And we, get really, really upset about it. And we think it's a reflection on us. I'm at the point now where nothing I do in my business, I'm just like, let's do this. Let's try it and see what happens. And if nothing happens, I literally don't care. I'm like, that's okay. Like, let's just keep moving. We're going to keep going and tweak and see what will work, and just keep having fun doing it. So that was big. Then October of 2024, I've kind of dropped this in here throughout, but October of 2024, I think it's probably because I turned 40. I remember having a moment, like a couple days, I think after my birthday, I was walking George and I was calling my mom and I'm just crying. Like, I don't know why I'm sad. Like, I think I was having like a mini like midlife crisis, but not really. But I think a lot of the inner work that I had started at that point was kind of bubbling up. I had realized that there were a lot of relationships that I had just kind of outgrown. There were a lot of things that I was still holding on to that I wasn't willing to admit that they had changed, or that I didn't need them anymore, or they didn't need me, or it wasn't serving me anymore. And those are crappy conversations that needed to be had, but I did a really big, like, I don't know what you would call it, just a lot of inner work that felt really, really messy and really uncertain in October. But it was all good stuff. It was all, it was all like really, it was like a fresh start. It was almost like spring cleaning. Like, okay, you're 40 now. Clean it out here, girl. Like, clean everything up on the back end. Clean relationships, clean habits, clean it all up. So that happened in October. And I also had a moment in October too when I was just like, ugh, like, I wish that I should say I probably have these moments often, but I in October I was like, God, I wish that I could just coach and not have to sell or market anything. Because again, remember when I told you in the beginning when I was like, okay, this wasn't what I signed up for. I don't think we realize that when we get into coaching and we're going to own our own business doing coaching, like, you're the marketing team, you're the sales team, you're the customer service team, you're the HR team, like, you're everything. And yeah, if there were a version of this world, and there probably is, but like where I could just wake up and coach and not have to worry about those other things, that would be great. But also I've just learned so much and I wouldn't change anything. And at that point, when I think this, or when I was thinking that in October, I wasn't like, I'm about to quit or whatever. I'm like, I'm already too far into this. I already know way too much not to share this with other women in their business building adventures. So it was just a kind of a fleeting thought of like, oh, I wish I could just coach and not have to sell or market anything. So there was that. Now in November of 2024, I decided to turn my group coaching program, that one that I had ran over the summer, into an evergreen mastermind space. This was a huge overhaul. This was a huge change. There were a lot of things that had to happen on the back end. Now, when I say on the back end, I mean on my end, like internally, to shift this into a mastermind, and not only a mastermind, but an evergreen mastermind. And I did a whole podcast episode on this as well, about the reasoning why I turned the group program into a mastermind space. And it's been incredible. I'm so glad that I made that shift. But I did this even though I got a lot of quote unquote advice from a lot of different people that I really respect and trust, that you definitely should not turn anything evergreen, because it's just too hard to sell. If there's no sense of urgency, it's really, really difficult to sell. Here I am, a little while later, still trekking along, still selling this program consistently, still learning how to create that sense of urgency, even if there's no like time date. And there's just so many different ways, you guys, to be creative in your business with things like this. And I don't think I realized that because I was in such a box up until probably September, October of 2024. And I'm having so much fun selling this space. I'm having so much fun watching it evolve. I'm having so much fun inviting women into it and having new women join. I'm just learning so much. And it's a really, truly beautiful space. It's one of my favorite spaces that I have. And it's just been amazing. So that's also when I started. If you want to hear more about that it's here on the podcast too. And over on Instagram, I did a series called Biz Builders Insiders, where I gave little like snippets and peeks into the things we're talking about in the mastermind, the questions that are coming up, the moves that the women are making inside the space, what the conversations are like, what the vibe is like. So you can head back. There's episodes here. They're also over on Instagram too. Now, in December of 2024, so this was just last month, I had clients begin to re-sign for another 6 months in 2025. I had mastermind women coming in. I had people reaching out about the mastermind, which was so exciting because, again, we do so many things in business, you guys, that we want to see the result from immediately, and we just simply do not. But I'm like, this is going to work. Like, that's just where my mindset is. I'm like, this is going to fill up. This is going to have the most perfect, like, people that are supposed to be in it. The women, this is like perfect for them. And I've really anchored to that and connected to that. And I just have, like I said, I've just enjoyed continuing to show up because there comes a moment when you're like, oh my gosh, all these seeds that I've planted have started to sprout or started to bloom. And it's just so incredibly powerful, especially going through the quote unquote hard parts of it to see just the beauty in business as well. So that was my year. That was 2024, or at least of what I remember of it. The little things that I remember. There's probably a lot more. But really, I'm just going back and like even talking this through with you guys today here. I just feel really proud. I feel really proud of this evolution. And I think about myself, the year ago version of myself, and even the 2 year ago of myself, like the baby Sandy version of me, who's just come so far and who's just been like, fuck it, like I'm doing this, like I'm doing this. And I'm proud of myself for looking back on a lot of these things that I believe most people would have these thoughts or would have these experiences or would have lack of results and would just be like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, this isn't worth it. That is not me. It has never been me. Have there been times when I've wanted to throw the towel in? Yes, but that's never been an option for me. Like, in the back of my head, it's never, ever been an actual viable option for me. It's always like, you're going to do this and you're going to make it work. And here we are making it work, you guys. We got this. So, and I'm proud of myself too for trusting myself and continuing to build that self-trust within myself over and over again by doing uncomfortable things. And knowing too that like this business that I run, this coaching business, and the women that I get to interact with and impact, this is everything to me. Like, this is literally my life's work. And I truly believe it is what I am meant to be doing. And it's really not just for me. Like, none of this has ever just been for me. It's really for so many women whose lives are changing too. Like, and I go back when I was telling you about that first coach that I had worked with, for almost 2 years, like she literally changed the trajectory of my life. And when I made that decision to become a coach, I was like, this is going to be my way of passing this on and allowing other women to create this freedom of choice, freedom of time, freedom, financial freedom, location freedom, all of these freedoms that we are craving. This is my way of passing that along because I have that and I'm living that out every day. And while yes, I know how hard it can be, I also know how incredibly beautiful it is to have this type of freedom, to get to call the shots and get to pick your kids up from school and to get to go to Disneyland on a random Thursday with your family because that's just what you want to do. Like, this is my life that I get to live now, and this business is so much more than just me. It's me passing that along, supporting women in those moments where they're like, I want to throw the fucking towel in. Like, this is awful. Like, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. It's me talking them off of a ledge. It's me supporting them, and it's me celebrating with them when they create things that they thought were impossible a year ago. And it's also for my family too. Like, it's always been about presence and time with my family. And I want my boys to see, like, you don't have to settle. Like, if you're stuck in something, whether it's a relationship, a job, a situation, whatever it is, like, you don't have to settle. You can make a change, even if that change is going to inconvenience other people, even if that change is going to be uncomfortable at first. You can absolutely, I want to set that example for them. And I'm doing that now. I'm like, look, you guys, look what I've done. And this is not to say that I've done it on my own. I've had lots of support. I've had an amazing support system through all of it. But this is available. It's available to anybody. So yeah. Okay. Now I just got sidetracked in what I was saying, and I've also been talking for almost an hour, you guys. Thanks for sticking with me on this one. This was so fun to do, and you can look forward to another one of these next year too. It's probably be even longer because I'm really documenting and really digging into what's happening as far as my business goes. And now here we are celebrating 2 years in business, celebrating working with dozens and dozens of women, and just celebrating the impact that those women are making on the women that they work with, and the men and the families and all of the things. So, okay, I'm going to stop talking now, you guys. I love you all. Happy New Year. I will see you back here very, very soon for another episode. I love you guys. Bye. Thanks for listening, you guys. If you're ready to get your business going and making money and to step into that next level version of you, I would love to support you make that happen through strategy, mindset work, and my Cut the BS style coaching, because it's always better, quicker, and more fun to have someone who's already been through it support you. Shoot me a message over on Instagram with the word ready, and we can chat and get your questions answered about coaching and how I can support you. I cannot wait to hear from you.